Since the first human was born, humans have been dying. Death is one of the most inevitable parts of the human experience. We all understand that in order for there to be life, there has to be death. So you think we would know how to deal with death and grief by now, but we don't. Why? Well, for one, death and grief are topics we tend to avoid talking about so we can maintain an illusion of invulnerability. I know I did, until my journey with grief began. On February 15th, 2015, at the age of 15 years old. This day started by sharing a Sunday brunch with my childhood best friend and our families. We laughed, we told stories, we ate cookie cake, just like we've been doing our whole entire lives. We grew up right next to each other, and I never once thought that that would change, until it did. I waved goodbye to my childhood best friend Blaine that afternoon, and 5 hours later, he was found unresponsive on his bedroom floor. He passed away before the paramedics could even get there. Grief has been one of the most difficult things that I've ever had to deal with. But it's also been the most important. Grief has broken me down into unrecognizable pieces of myself, but then it's built me back together in a beautifully, powerfully changed way. So today I invite you to listen as I walk you through my journey with grief and show you all the uncommon connections that I've made on this journey. Before Blaine died, my life was nearly perfect in my eyes. I was a freshman in high school, and I thought that the world consisted of second chances and happy endings. I was innocent, and I loved the journey that I was on. But then, on a cold February night, sitting on a living room floor in a house I grew up in, I was delivered the news that forever changed me. In a matter of seconds, my world was flipped upside down, and I was given a ticket for a train that I do not want to be on. This train was not nearly as shiny or bright as my old one. It was dark, and it was lonely, and I had no idea where it was taking me. At first, I was in denial that this was really happening. This wasn't supposed to be my story. This wasn't supposed to happen to me. I yearned for the days where the things that would keep me up at night were as simple as a math test or who I would sit with the next day at lunch. I desperately tried to exit this train, but it never stopped. My whole entire world was standing still, but this train kept barreling forward. All I could do was sit with these feelings of pain and anger and overwhelming sadness and denial and wonder if my life would ever be good again. Unfortunately, most everybody can relate to what I was feeling. Because what I was experiencing was not death. I was experiencing the beginning stages of grief. And we grieve a lot more than we think we do. We grieve our relationships, our jobs, our missed opportunities. We grieve all the things that we leave behind and all the things that no longer wait ahead of us. We are emotional beings, and so we grieve. It's a pain that we all experience differently, but share. And yet it's something we don't talk about enough. So that's what I want to do today. Pain is a passport. And though grief is the unwanted conductor of this journey, it can take us places if we let it. Grief demands to be felt, and you can't get through it by denying it. You can try and bury these emotions with work, with school, with parties, with the lies that you feed yourself, but you can't run from them forever. The days and weeks following Blaine's death was a blur. I was unsure of pretty much everything in my life except for the fact that I wasn't okay. As I continued with this journey, I realized that it was time for me to answer to grief, and it was time for me to feel grief. However, I didn't have to do it alone. I slowly began to notice all the other passengers on this journey with me. The train was full of people from all different ages and backgrounds that I never knew before, that I never even thought of wanting to know before. But now, can't imagine my life or my story without. These people took me by the hand and showed me that I was not alone, that I had a friend along this path less traveled. They are the seasoned passengers, the ones who had spent many holidays staring at an empty seat at the end of the dinner table, the ones who have known more time without their loved ones than with them. These members were my living survival guides. With every laugh and with every smile, they showed me that I was going to be happy again, that I was going to love with an open heart, and my life would be good again. I was asked to speak at Blaine's funeral. The task at hand seemed impossible. How was I supposed to eulogize someone when I hadn't even fully comprehended that they were gone? I remember before I had to get up and speak, I was really nervous, and a lady named Sue pulled me aside. Sue is 30 years older than me, and she had lost her brothers, not her best friend. But our differences didn't matter because our pain was the same. Sue offered wise words and encouragement and told me how she got through speaking at both of her brothers' funerals. But Sue left me with a lot more than she'll ever know that day. She left me with hope. You see, I had known this woman for a few years now, and I never once knew about her journey with grief. In my eyes, she had a great life and was always happy. So this is what made her become a living symbol of hope for me on one of my darkest days. She showed me that I too could have all of that again. As I continued on in my journey with grief, I got to meet the passengers that came after me, the people I got to share my story with and help. And in my opinion, this is where you find healing, and this is where you find purpose. A girl I met in college named Elaine lost her childhood best friend about a year ago. She was asked to speak at the funeral, and she reached out to me to help her write the eulogy. Sitting on a dorm room floor, I got to see a beautiful part of my story with grief come full circle. Just like Sue had helped me, I got to help someone else. I got to be a source of light for someone else on their darkest days. I got to give my pain a purpose. Grief demands an answer, and oftentimes, there isn't one. I don't know why bad things happen to good people, and I really don't know why children die. And I don't think we're ever going to have the answers to those questions. So we have to create our own answers. We have to find our own purpose within this pain. My purpose is to honor Blaine's life by telling others his story and about my journey with grief. And I've come to learn that just like we can't have life without death, we can't have true happiness without pain. We are all a combination of the best and worst days of our lives, of all the things that built us and all the things that broke us, of all the people who stayed and all the people who left, of all the things we leave behind and all the things that wait ahead. We are a combination of all of our pain and all of our happiness. The worst days of our lives pave the way for the greatest days of our lives. I never would have believed you if you told me what was once the darkest, most hated chapter of my life would be the way I was able to make uncommon connections with those around me, and the way I was able to help others through the darkest days of their lives, all by telling them the story of mine. So whatever season of life you're in right now, I urge you to respond to pain with purpose. Do not let grief turn this chapter of your life into one you never want to read again. Give your pain a purpose and turn this into something meaningful. You have to feel it anyways, so why not make something good come from it? Unfortunately, giving your pain a purpose doesn't mean that it's never going to hurt again. But it does allow you to discover the power that lies within our pain. The greatest dignity to be found in death is the dignity of the life that preceded it. Hope resides in the meaning of what our lives have been. Grief makes you think about how you want to be remembered when you're gone. And then that pain gives you the power and the purpose to go out and make that happen. Grief gives you an uncommon perspective. When death brushes near, things are put into a brilliant clarity. Your social status, your political stance, your economic class, your education, none of that matters. Grief, if you let it, can give your life a whole new meaning. It can either be a part of your life and your story you never want to talk about again, or it can show you the power that lies within your pain and can push you to do things that were never before possible. Dear Blaine, it's been 6 years since you left us. I've learned a lot since that day, especially about grief. But the most important thing I've learned is that we never stop grieving. I will always feel the absence of you. There will always be the hole you left in my heart. But I don't think there's supposed to be an end to grief, nor should there be, nor do I want there to be. If the days spent without you have taught me anything, it is that grief is not mourning or healing. Grief is something that lives within me now and is a part of my story, because my grief is you. And that grief is all the love I can no longer give and all the time we no longer have. Grief is never ending because my love for you is never ending. Your life and your legacy will forever be the greatest story I tell. And I promise you, I will never stop telling that story. Because I cannot tell my own story without talking about you. All that I am, I owe to you. Your story is so deeply intertwined with mine that everything I do in this life is because of you. I will never stop wishing you were here. And there are still going to be days that I cannot get out of bed because I'm going to love you for the rest of my life and you won't be here for any of it. But you left me with enough love and memories to last me a lifetime. And for that, I'm forever thankful for my short time with you. I will not let the sadness of your death overshadow the beautiful life that you led here. So because of you and the extraordinary legacy you left behind, I will find the light amidst the darkest of days. I promise to stand tall, to leave an impact, and to never forget that these days are numbered. Over the course of your life, you will be touched by loss and grief many times. I urge you to face that pain directly and courageously and to see all the uncommon connections you can make on this path. I don't know why we don't know how to handle grief after all this time, but I don't think we're ever going to know, and that's okay. Because I know that this pain has the power to be the passport to your purpose. It has the power to transform you in indescribable ways, take you to incredible places where unforgettable people are waiting to meet you. Thank you.